I just have a bad knee. I'm Robert Kelly, and I wanted to point out that in addition to the wonderful work we have heard, and presently will hear, we have, there are two remarkable stars in our constellation who are not here today. The novelist Mary Caponegro, who is the co-director and really boss of fiction in our program, who is now in a castle in Umbria. That's in Italy, not Pennsylvania. She couldn't be here, but wishes she could be. And our other star, the poet Anne Lauterbach, who is elsewhere today. She has a commitment somewhere else. And she would, again, love to have been here. Another star, you've already heard, pretending to be something else, named Lynn Barrett, who introduced us, is herself a poet, published a number of chapbooks, and an artist. Her work is quite wonderful, too. Though she doesn't teach in our department, so the hell with her. But she's just a Bard person. But we have a lot of people at Bard who don't teach in our department, and they should someday be recognized. I counted 16 poets at Bard once, and including, the man who washes the cars. Anyway, I write a lot of things in a lot of different genres, as has been pointed out, and I like to read just recent material. I don't like to read all kinds of old things. I have a lot of old things. So I want to read stuff from, let's see, this is a piece from the longish piece. I like longer forms, where the piece that Michael just read so brilliantly for the two alumni, wonderful poets, by Thomas Hanitz and Billy Jernigan. That piece would have been, for me, a kind of medium short poem. I like a longer form. I like to go on, but I also like very short things. Earlier this month, I was interested in an area that I don't usually concern myself with, namely my own background. And I found myself writing a poem called From the Old Mill. The Old Mill is the neighborhood in Brooklyn where I grew up. I wasn't born there, but I grew up there. An area that is now almost completely gone because it's been built over. But it was a marsh fenland with occasional houses occupied by escaped convicts mostly. And me, I had an escape. I still haven't escaped. This is the second day of the Old Mill piece. I am what's left of me after I don't know what. Something changed. Something changes. And the almond tree flourishes where the golden apples of the West once, but I don't know what those are either, were. The tall masts so thick at base, even a big man couldn't get his arms around them, even though he can reach across the sea. And so the ship of me staggers on, hit by stormlight and crosswind, wondering, what if you needed more than numbers to define a date in love's calendar? Change all the words, the winds, and wait. Suppose I really meant today, or it did. More likely, it knows the shapes and times of things as no man can, especially the kind I am, a traveler who never leaves home. So it's not a question of where I saw you, the bus in Paris, the Black River in Osnabrück, where the Treaty of Westphalia had just been signed a few centuries before. I looked up and saw, wasn't you on the banks of the Hase, or under the waterfall on the road down from Darjeeling? How modest you always were in the offering. Sometimes you were unsteady on my feet. Sometimes you lurched when you stumbled on my glance. I was always looking. No wonder, always. It's a matter of looking for wonder. It's really not as simple as that, but it is. Can you cauterize a memory? Drain the sad sepsis from the blood somehow? Set the leeches working on my temples, like Stalin on his deathbed, to suck the putrid memories out of what had been, so sweet, so sleek, on the beholding, in the holding. No such suck. What happens, happens forever. That's the rule. The school is strict. We labor in to learn year after year some lesson we never get to recite, memorize formulas for sciences that will never exist this side of the long eclipse. Have I told you enough? Too much, they cry. But sometimes a true answer can be a lie. If there is no measure, where are the nights stored you gave to me? Venice, Vienna, everything is white, stone and sparkle, La Vecchia, all places are the same in being where you were, where you are not. You are the opposite of memory. I have like most poets have superstitions, I flourish on them. I was raised Irish, and we know what it means. We don't know why it means that, but we know. So one of my superstitions, an important one for me, is that at every reading I have to end the reading part with, whatever may happen later, I have to end with the most recent poem written. And that was this morning, so I have to read this if I can make it out. I write by hand and on the keyboard, and there are two very different kinds of poems. The one you just heard was a combination of those forms. I noticed to my astonishment that handwritten poems have short lines, as if I were an aged flautist, maybe unable to carry on the circular breathing that you could carry on keyboard. And the keyboard poems are long lines. I don't know why. This is from today. Things peaceful breathe you back. So it's not all just you politicking the flowers. The world sneaks in between what you say of it. Wittgenstein is laid to rest among the Christians, while 6 inches down, we're all the same religion. Death is a crazy kid with an eraser, but truth is the blackboard he can't rub away. I believe in writing as a practice, and it's that I try to torment my students with, to make it a daily practice so that it fills up a category, it occupies a category like the evidentiality that Ben was talking about. It fills up the category of eating, drinking, breathing, etc. So it becomes a natural part of your life process, which rescues it often from the thing that Charles Olson loathed, literature. I encourage that as a practice, but what poetry is for me is, and you can certainly hear it in the variety of work you've heard today. You hear it in Ben's work, no less than in Michael's, and you'll hear it in Susan's too. Poetry is listening out loud. Right? You hear something in the head, you follow it, you hear it. If you're fast, you can do it like Michael. If you're slow, you do it like me. But you're following something that is heard. You're listening, and always paying attention to what you hear, because what you hear are words. You write from images, you write from thought, you write from intentions even, God forbid. but there's something that guides you, and what you're guided by is listening. So the poet is one who listens out loud. That's my sense of practice. Let's hear Susan. Comes to us from McMurdo Sound.